You know why you're here. Go watch part 1 if you haven't already, unless for whatever reason you only want to see some 3D era matchups. Kicking things off, we have my personal favourite 3D era character, Reiko, going up against General Ram from Gears. Two generals to massive armies from ultra-violent franchises. Both wield bladed weapons and are feared for their immense power, at least comic book Reiko is. Both are also loyal to their leaders, often to an extreme fault. It's also technically an MK vs KI fight. Look, Reiko's my boy, and I know he doesn't have much, but I think this could be cool, especially since Gears, to my knowledge, doesn't do too well in terms of stats, so it's possibly debatable unless we grant Reiko Chronica scaling. This would obviously just be a bloodbath, with their armies fighting in the background. Besides a gory kill and a metal track, the thing I'd want the most is Reiko having a moment where, after seeing Ram's loyalty to the Queen, he contemplates if him being blind to Hsu Hao is really the best course of action for his life. Whilst I'm here, would y'all be interested in seeing a video on how Reiko has, in my opinion, the most potential writing-wise within the new MK timeline? Just curious. Next up we have Meat vs Meat from Skate 3. They are both unlockable meats. I don't know, bro, I just think this would be funny seeing MK Meat throw his limbs around while Skate Meat does tricks around him. It make funny. For Fujin, we have Buddha from Record of Ragnarok. Both are easygoing gods compared to their peers, based around mythological figures with the same name. They both have resentment towards their fellow gods for not helping the mortals more. At one point, both even went to go live among the mortals. There's also the obvious similarities between both franchises. With Fujin's wind powers and Buddha's clairvoyance, this could be a visually stunning fight, ideally in sprites. I don't trust Devil Artemis with cinematic based fights anymore, sorry. Next up, Quan Chi vs Gul'dan from Warcraft. Evil sorcerers and necromancers with similar powers, who lead evil factions. Their ambitions started after meeting an ancient demonic lord that had previously opposed the gods. Both characters would serve them loyalty, expecting to gain more power. Despite this loyalty, they would also contemplate betraying their masters at points. Both of their goals involve resurrecting their masters to conquer other worlds, resurrecting fan favourite characters in the process. Holy shit, this kinda slaps. I've seen Lord Shen and Valam as options for Quan Chi, but this just works so well. I think the animation potential speaks for itself. Two sorcerers with armies of fan favourite characters going at it, performing spells in an attempt to counter the other and steal their souls. It's genuinely peak, not much else to say. Okay, let's get Jarek out of the way, up against Saddam from Street Fighter. Criminals are part of crime factions that eventually take over after their leader's death. The contrast being people want Saddam to return, whereas nobody likes Jarek. Next. Oh god. Kai vs Dawson. They're both South Asian, have tattoos, and wield fire. This matchup fucking sucks. Kai has nothing else because nobody cares about him. Please, let's just go with something good next. Tanya vs Demona from Gargoyles wasn't my original pick, but shout out to Vargos for suggesting this one. Treacherous, manipulative women that are members of near immortal species. They both have strong feelings of self-righteousness against what they deem as oppressors. They also have complicated love lives. Look, Tanya was difficult to find one for. She isn't really popular outside the MK community, and MK1 definitely hasn't helped given how boring she is lore-wise there. But I think as simple as this is, it kind of works, and bringing back Gargoyles would definitely be something some people want to see. Tanya's mobility against someone who can fly could be interesting. To clean up MK4, we have Shinnok vs Emperor Mateos from Final Fantasy II. Both are the main antagonists of what most people consider to be the worst entry in both franchises. They're manipulative evil sorcerers with hellish ambitions and a lust for power to threaten both Earth and Heaven. Both, after being sent to Hell, slew their rulers and built up a demonic army, both with a penchant for cheating death. Both have lighter halves, being Cetron and the Light Emperor, who turn out to be no better than their demonic counterparts. They both can also take up a monstrous transformation during their final boss fight. They even corrupt, or at least get someone else to, corrupt one of the main champions of light in order to fight against the other heroes. They are both very similar personality-wise too, seeing everyone else as beneath them, and often send underlings to do their bidding, believing it is an honor to be slew by them. I kinda dig this. Don't get me wrong, Salem from Ruby is probably better thematically, but it's a Ruby character against a top tier MK fighter, and let's be honest, that isn't fair. I played through the first two Final Fantasy games last year. I liked 1 a lot, but 2 has a weird level up system, but an okay story. Emperor is a decent villain, same with Shinnok. This one's hard carried on vibes alone, but it definitely works. For one I've actually taken quite a liking to, Frost vs Kylo Ren. failed violent students of legendary warriors who gave in to their ambitions and violent tendencies after being promised a better future for them to lead by a cunning manipulator. They'd eventually lead a crusade that eliminated all other students from their former factions. And if we count Frost's MK11 ending as canon, they'd both eliminate their new teachers in the end. I think this really vibes, especially if you bring in their armies to clash in the background. I imagine the style would be similar to Vader vs Obito, but this time both would have to give in to their anger fully by the end. If Kylo Ren vs Edelgard didn't exist, this would probably be the most popular for Ben. Oh well. Next up, Kenshi vs Kain and Darius, swordsmen who would go blind after trusting a manipulative villain. Both also draw their power from a spiritual force, literally in Kainan's case, becoming mentor figures and fighting in large-scale conflicts. It's simple, but I think most agree it just kinda works, and this is the ideal Rebels fight in my opinion. Have it be 3D in a moonlit forest, and I don't think you can go wrong here. Next up, Li Mei vs MCU Okoye. Both are modern adaptations of pre-existing characters. Both used to be leaders of elite female bodyguards to the royal family, but after failing to save a royal from danger, they'd be stripped from their title and treated as a pariah, yet still remain loyal. Filled with self-doubt, both would still seek redemption and help defeat a tyrant trying to take over their kingdoms, losing their queens and gaining their redemption and finding a new purpose in life. This one's really solid. Before I found Demona, Okoye was my choice for Tanya, but I don't like MK1 Tanya lore-wise, nor does anyone from what I've covered, but in my opinion, this works a lot better thematically. I don't have much to say here. Li Mei is fun as hell in MK1, and I'm glad she's became a fan favourite. Next up, Drahmin vs Pinhead. Mortals who, once they descended to hell, became the head torturers. I mean, yeah, it's kinda okay, but putting Drahmin against someone as iconic as Pinhead feels really wrong, but I have nothing else for him. Moving on to more slop, we have Hsu Hao vs Spopovich. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. Brutish minions who tortured the child of a fan favorite character. They are also hated by both franchises. I don't know, man, I really don't care enough to come up with something for Hsu Hao, and I wish people like Fourth Snake would stop trying to give this guy anything. From one red dragon to another, we have Mavado vs Ilya from Ruby. Did I say that? Members of criminal factions that ally themselves with a dangerous female fighter. Both would go on a mission to seek out a former member that betrayed them, but instead end up injuring an ally of the one they were tracking down, Cabal Wukong. Both also weaponize grappling hooks and a form of sword. I don't mind this, it's not like Mavado had much better. He's my favourite cameo to use in MK1, so I'm glad he has something to work with. Then there's Mokap vs Rob from Nintendo. I don't know, they're both secret fighters based on real life stuff. I'm done guys, I can't lie. Next up, Moloch vs Miley Cyrus. They are both hot and use wrecking balls. I cannot be bothered anymore. Back to solid ideas, Iroh vs Bo Raicho. Teaches the main pyrokinetic protagonist to act as uncle figures. Both are skilled martial artists who weaponize fire, and both are often the humorous ones among their cast. Additionally, they are both obsessed with a certain drink, being tea and booze. I don't prefer this to Uwe vs Iroh, but it's still good. The banter potential is obviously very good, and a scene where they both weaponize their respective drinks would be kinda sick. You can't go wrong with this one. I just don't want it over Uguay vs Iroh. To round out Deadly Alliance, we have Natara vs Eliza from Tekken. Underrated fighting game vampresses. Yeah, that's all I got, sorry. They're cool characters, I like them, yay. For Deception, we're starting with Havoc vs Guilty Gear's Raven. Seemingly immortal fighting game villains with impairments on their faces. Both are sadistic characters, taking pleasure in dealing and receiving damage. Both seek nothing more than chaos. Havoc to eliminate order, and Raven just to feel something. He's just like me for real. Unlike other Havoc matchups, Raven also shares Havoc's ability to use his limbs as a weapon, which I think could allow the crew to get really creative. Definitely my favourite for Havoc. Moving from Chaos to Order, we have Hotaru vs Nikolai from Anarchy Reigns. They both punish any crime no matter the size in order to maintain order. I don't know, Hotaru had nothing else I could find, mainly because he's a 3D error who's not returned yet. Oh well. Then for Cobra, we have Ken. Yeah, I wasn't gonna bother looking for someone better, it's fucking Cobra, what do you want from me? Then for Kira, we have Poison. Psychotic members of criminal organizations who help reform them after their defeat. Also, MK vs Street Fighter or something. Look, Kira doesn't even have a high quality PNG. Just leave me alone. Then there's Dairo vs Amaranth. Yeah, from Final Fantasy IX. Assassins notorious for being very bad characters within their communities. I haven't played FF9 yet, so I don't know if this is true. If Dairo dies, that would be neat. Just please be something good next. Oh, for fuck's sake. Darius vs Rolento. They are underground resistance leaders from rival games. It's Darius, who the fuck cares? Next. Taking a detour to the tournament edition, we have Sareena vs Ashrah from Samurai Jack. Warriors groomed by a powerful religious figure to serve an evil god. They were tasked with their sisters to kill a protagonist, but their sisters would die, leaving just them to be spared by this warrior. Both have demonic thorns and can use demonic powers to assist others. Honestly, it kind of vibes. I've never watched Samurai Jack, but I've seen this thrown around before, so I'm sure it can be good. Sareena love is always cool. For Deception's protagonist, we have Shujinko vs Soul Calibur's Edge Master. Old, wise fighters who go on journeys to protect the world from supernatural threats. Both know multiple fighting styles and can manipulate magic. I feel like he can do better for Shujinko, but this is the best I got. Wait, what was his name again? Next, Ashrah vs Vaggie from Hazbin Hotel. A demon and an angel who both get banished from the demonic factions after gaining a conscience. Joining the faction they originally fought. Ashrah trying to redeem herself and Vaggie trying to redeem others. It's a neat contrast matchup that I think has a bit of potential. Ashrah is easily one of the better Mortal Kombat characters, so I hope she gains more popularity in Versus circles, because I feel like there's something better for her. But this one's still kinda cool. To conclude Deception, we have Onaga vs Sukuna, tyrannical kings from bygone eras. Both sought to become immortal via sealing their essence away, but who would eventually return after their demises, possessing a popular character and seeking to rule everything again. Both would lose their new bodies, but still find a way back somehow. Both would manipulate the protagonist and mock them relentlessly, using them to regain power by collecting a set of lost items. Fan favourites have sacrificed themselves just to attempt stopping them, and their ultimate defeat would only happen thanks to basically every character coming together. It's kinda sick. Onaga has a popular matchup that I refuse to even acknowledge, and Sukuna has every opponent under the sun. I think this one's perfect given the violent nature of both. Give it a look into. For the Sons of Argus, we have Taven vs Tusk, godlike beings who would survive until present day with no memory of the centuries prior. Both were tasked to watch over or defeat a godlike being by their world's gods, and both wield a sword as their main weapons. It's whatever, but until NRS makes people care about Taven, I doubt people would clamour for a better option. I'm honestly just done with this video at this point, so you can deal with the blurry thumbnail. For Dagon, I have Deimos from God of War, divine fighters with markings over their eye. Both were sealed away by their family of gods, and have an immense hatred towards their brother, who is also a god, who they sought out to kill. I guess it vibes? Dagon always has been interesting to me, and I could see them taking God of War inspiration if they ever brought him back. To end this video, we have Blaze vs Verse from King of Fighters, divine entities made of stone and fire who act in service of other gods, both being targeted by Earth's defenders as they have the power to cause global annihilation. It's basic, but it's Blaze. He's a basic character who's likely never seen the limelight again, only being relevant in power scaling debates. As cool as I personally find his design. Given the nature of Blaze's powers seemingly being able to cause universal destruction and creation, there's a shocking amount you can do with the character. But no, NRS instead will stick to the most limiting options as per usual. A pity, and there we have it. Look, I'm sorry most of these aren't good, but that's purely down to one, some of these not having much to work with in the first place, and two, people outside of the MK community don't care for 3/4 of these guys. Regardless, I still hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, and as always, be excellent to each other.